They left me at a rest stop like I was luggage they'd grown tired of carrying. No phone, no wallet, no goodbye. Just a joke, they said. 15 years later, they're calling me 107 times. But I'm not the same man they left behind. The summer I turned 22, my family took a road trip that changed everything, though not for the reasons they thought. It was supposed to be a bonding experience before my cousin's wedding in Colorado. But when your dad thinks bonding means mocking you for 8 hours straight and your brother joins in like it's a team sport, there's nothing healing about it. Back then I was stuck. No college degree. No career plan. Just working part-time at my dad's hardware store and crashing in my childhood bedroom because, in his words, you don't need your own place until you stop being a dependent. Thanks, that's my dad's name, though no one calls him that but himself, was the kind of guy who weaponized disappointment. He didn't just expect you to fail. He made sure he got a front row seat when you did. Alan, my little brother by 2 years, was everything I wasn't: athletic, charming, and worst of all, eager to be our dad's carbon copy. He could kick me under the table, break my stuff, even crash the car once while drunk, and still somehow get off with a boys will be boys chuckle. I, on the other hand, was the mope, the late bloomer, the one they weren't quite sure how to explain at family gatherings. 3 days into the trip, we pulled into a nowhere rest stop in Colorado, just a concrete bathroom shack, 2 vending machines, and a whole lot of sky. I got out to use the bathroom. Didn't take my phone, it was charging in the car. Didn't bring my wallet. Why would I? I figured we'd be back on the road in 10 minutes. When I came out, the Suburban was gone. I thought maybe they moved the car. Maybe it was a prank. I walked around the lot once. Twice. Checked behind the building. Nothing. The pavement felt hotter under my shoes with each step. At first, I laughed. I literally laughed out loud like some idiot in a sitcom. Okay, real funny, guys. But no one came back. I sat on the curb waiting. 1 hour. Then 2. People came and went. A couple kids stared. One woman offered me a bottle of water. A trucker asked if I was all right. Waiting for my girlfriend, I lied. She's inside. He nodded and left. Inside, something cracked open. It wasn't shock. It was recognition. This was the culmination of 22 years of being the family joke. The practice dummy for every cruel jab. My dad saying, "You'll never make it if we don't toughen you up." My mom whispering, "That's enough," but never stopping it. My brother laughing at my clothes, my interests, the way I breathed. And now? They'd actually left me. I could have panicked. Could have broken down and begged someone to let me call home. But what home? What was I really trying to return to? I asked a woman with 2 kids if I could borrow her phone. She hesitated but handed it over. I didn't call my parents. I called information and got the number for a shelter in Grand Junction. I asked her if she could give me a ride, told her my family had an emergency and would meet me later. I know how to lie when I have to. Survival does that to you. That night, I slept on a cot at a local shelter wearing the same ripped jeans and Metallica shirt I'd left the car in. No phone. No ID. Just me. A guy whose own family left him on the side of a highway for laughs. And somehow, for the first time, I felt free. I decided something, lying there with my arms folded across my chest and fluorescent light buzzing above me like a dying insect. They wanted to see if I could make it on my own? Good. Let them watch. The first job I ever loved had 2 rules. 1, don't be late. 2, don't steal from Geraldine. That was it. Geraldine ran a hole-in-the-wall diner called Sonny's, tucked behind a gas station and wedged between a pawn shop and a rundown storage unit complex. The sign was crooked. The paint was peeling. But inside, the fryer was always hot and the air smelled like old grease, burnt toast, and cigarette smoke that had sunk into the walls years ago and never left. It wasn't glamorous, but it was safe. And at that point in my life, safe was a miracle. I found Sonny's the morning after my first night at the shelter. I'd spent half the night staring at the ceiling, half dozing through the humming of a nearby vending machine, and the other half planning how not to go back to being someone's joke. I didn't have a resume. Didn't have a change of clothes. Barely had enough confidence to ask. But I walked in anyway. Geraldine was behind the counter drinking coffee from a chipped mug that said "World's Okayest Boss." She had short gray hair dyed with streaks of lavender, arms covered in faded tattoos, and a voice like gravel and bourbon. "You lost or lookin' to work?" she asked before I could say a word. "Dishwasher." "Anything," I replied. "I'll do whatever. Just need a chance." She looked me over. Didn't smile. Just nodded. "Dishwasher quit yesterday. If you steal from me, I'll bury you in the grease trap. Start now." And that was that. I spent that first day up to my elbows in dishwater and pan grease, scraping egg bits off plates and trying not to gag when I found a half-smoked cigarette floating in an old mug. I didn't complain. I didn't stop. I just kept scrubbing. My fingers ached. My back was screaming. But for the first time in my life, I was doing something entirely on my own and no one could take it from me. Geraldine paid cash under the table. Slowly, it stopped looking like a rental and started looking like a life. And in that life, I started writing. Not stories or anything deep. Just memories. Fragments. Little things I didn't want to forget. Like how it felt to sleep somewhere without dreading footsteps outside my door. Or the first time I bought groceries with money I earned myself. Or how I didn't miss them. Not even a little. I told myself I was done. That I had escaped. That their voices would fade into nothing eventually. But then the calls started again. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was off work and lying on my mattress reading some second-hand sci-fi novel when my phone buzzed. New number. I froze. Buzz. 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 I stared at it. Didn't answer. Then a voicemail popped up. I played it on speaker with my heart beating way too fast. Salvador. It's Mom again. Please call us back. Your brother's been trying to find you. We just want to talk. You don't have to come home, just let us know you're okay. It was soft. Practiced. Like someone had rehearsed it in the mirror. Like they were trying out sympathy as a language they'd never used before. I blocked that number too. But they kept trying. New numbers. Private calls. Emails to the burner account I'd used to apply for my job. One of them even sent a letter to the diner, no return address. Geraldine read it first and tore it in half before I could see it. You don't need to open old wounds, she told me. You've got enough scars. I thought about calling them. Just once. Maybe to yell. Maybe to say, look at me now. But I didn't. Because I knew what they wanted. They didn't want me. They wanted to undo the discomfort of losing control. They didn't care how I survived, only that I survived without them. That's what really ate at them. Not the guilt. The fact that I didn't fall apart. So I didn't answer. But I kept count. By the end of that month, 43 missed calls. By the end of the year, 107. All from the people who once left me in a rest stop with no shoes and no wallet, laughing as they drove away. They said it was a joke, but I wasn't laughing anymore. It had been 3 years since the last voicemail. 3 years of uninterrupted peace. No blocked calls. No surprise emails. No more letters showing up at the diner with shaky handwriting and no return address. I'd started to believe the past had finally quit me. I'd moved into the bigger unit above the laundromat, same building, just 2 more feet of space and a window that faced the sunset instead of the dumpster. I bought a small love seat secondhand off Facebook Marketplace, found a thrift store rug with the kind of ugly pattern only an old soul could love, and even rescued a plant from a neighbor's trash can. I named it Frank. Frank's still alive somehow. At Sonny's, I'd become assistant manager, unofficial therapist to teenage fry cooks, and certified coffee wizard to our 6 a.m. regulars. Geraldine even let me design a chalkboard menu. My name wasn't on the wall, but everyone knew who kept that place humming. I was proud of that. I was proud of me. That's what made the knock so terrifying. It came on a cloudy Wednesday. I was reheating leftover chili and folding laundry when I heard it, 3 sharp knocks. Not rushed. Not timid. Confident, like the person already assumed I'd open the door. I stood still, chili bubbling in the microwave behind me. I never got visitors. I crept to the peephole, heart climbing into my throat. And there he was. Alan. Same jawline. Same posture. Hair slicked back, like he was trying to look put together like some budget TV pastor. But it was him. My brother. Standing outside my door after 15 years like no time had passed. I took 2 steps back without even thinking. My body moved before my brain caught up. Then came the voice. Salvador. I know you're in there. I froze. His tone, it was too casual. Like he expected this to be a reunion. Like we were estranged because of some misunderstanding and all it would take was one conversation to fix it. He knocked again. Firmer. I'm not here to fight. I just want to talk. Can you open up? Just for a minute. I stared at the door like it had turned radioactive. Every second dragged like a stone being pulled across pavement. My mouth was dry. My ears were ringing. You think we didn't look for you? Alan said, voice softer now. We did. For months. Mom cried every night. Dad kept saying you'd come home when you were ready. We didn't mean for it to go that far, man. It was just stupid. A prank. That word again. Prank. Like abandoning someone at a rest stop in the middle of nowhere was the same as jumping out from behind a couch. Like leaving your brother with no phone, no wallet, no goodbye could be brushed off with a sheepish chuckle. You don't have to say anything, he added. Just open the door. It's been 15 years. 15. He let that hang there like bait. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just watched the shadow of his feet through the gap under the door. Then I heard the sound of paper sliding against the floor, something pushed under the door. My number, Alan said. Call me. Or don't. But Dad's sick. Really sick. He's been asking for you. I didn't respond. After a moment, I heard his footsteps retreating down the stairs. I waited 10 minutes before I moved. The paper sat there like a ghost. Folded. Neat. Clean. Not torn from desperation, not scrawled in rage, just quietly waiting. Like it knew it would get picked up eventually. I didn't touch it. Not that night. Instead, I sat on the floor, legs crossed like a kid again, staring at it. The chili in the microwave had gone cold. My stomach didn't notice. I thought of everything I'd built. Every moment I hadn't needed them. Every rent payment. Every friendship. Every tiny miracle that had come from being thrown away. And yet, a part of me wanted to read it. To open the paper. To call. To scream. Or maybe worse, to forgive. Because the part of me I tried hardest to kill, the one that still wanted to be wanted, was awake. And it terrified me. I didn't call. Not at first. But the paper stayed on the table next to my keys for 11 days. I'd look at it every morning with my coffee, every night after work. Folded perfectly. No smudge. No note, just a number in my brother's handwriting. It wasn't guilt that got to me. It was the word sick. Not because I owed my father anything, but because I needed to see it. With my own eyes. I needed to see the man who told me I was a mistake since I was 6 years old, the man who left me in a Colorado rest stop like a forgotten fast food wrapper, asked for me. Need me. So I called. Blocked number. Short. Direct. Where's he? Alan didn't gloat. Didn't cry. He just gave me an address. Back in our hometown, same house. Same brown shutters. Same cracked sidewalk I used to trip over as a kid. I hung up without another word. 2 days later, I got on a Greyhound. Bought the ticket myself. Packed light. 1 backpack. 1 change of clothes. A notebook. And a letter I'd written 2 nights earlier, folded and sealed and tucked into the lining of my coat like a weapon. The ride was long. Quiet. I didn't sleep. The town looked the same. Smaller, somehow. Less threatening than I remembered, like a monster that only scared you in the dark. I walked from the station, past the hardware store I used to stock shelves in, past the gas station where Alan once tried to light a firework inside a trash can. I'd forgotten how familiar it all was. Until I reached the house. Same peeling paint. Same dented mailbox. But the porch light was on. Alan opened the door. He looked nervous. Sal, can I call you that? Or A. I walked past him. Didn't say a word. The inside hadn't changed much. Same living room couch. Same dusty family photos. The only thing new was the air heavier. Like the walls were holding in something no one had said for years. He's upstairs, Alan said, quieter now. He sleeps most of the day. I climbed the stairs slowly. The same ones my dad used to stomp up when he was mad. Same ones I used to sit on as a kid, knees pulled to my chest, listening to the shouting from the kitchen below. His bedroom door was open. And there he was. Thinner. Pale. Lying propped up on pillows. Eyes closed. Tubes I didn't recognize ran from a machine to his arm. He looked small. For a second, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel pity either. I felt distance. Like I was looking at a statue of a man I used to know. He opened his eyes. Didn't say anything at first. Just blinked, trying to make sure I was real. Then, finally, his voice, dry and hoarse. You came. I didn't move. He looked like he wanted to smile, but didn't have the energy. Didn't think he would. I pulled the letter from my coat and set it on the nightstand. I'm not here to talk, I said. Sal? You don't get to call me that. He nodded. Or maybe it was just a tremble. I thought, he started, then trailed off. I thought we'd have more time. I looked at the man who told me at 12 that I was going to grow up useless. Who laughed when Alan dumped ice water on me while I slept. Who left me at a rest stop and called it tough love. You used it all, I said. You used all the time you had. Then I turned and left. Down the stairs. Past Alan, who didn't stop me. He looked like he wanted to say something but didn't. Maybe he was afraid I'd say something back. I walked out the front door and didn't look back. On the bus ride home, I finally read the letter I left. It said, I am not here for closure. I am not here to forgive. I am here to show you that your plan failed. That the weakest one made it out. And he's not yours anymore. The ride back from my hometown felt different than the one going in. Lighter, like I'd left a backpack full of rocks behind. I stared out the bus window for hours, watching telephone poles flick past like ticking clocks, wondering if I'd finally done it. Severed the last thread. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel broken. What I felt, strangely, was peace. My past no longer had anything left to say to me, and I had no reason left to listen. When I got home, I went upstairs to my apartment, dropped my backpack, and sat in my little kitchen staring at my battered espresso machine. I brewed a shot, sat on the couch, and just sat. No noise, no calls, no waiting. The next morning, I went to work early. The diner was empty, still dark. Geraldine had given me a key a year ago. "You're basically co-owner without the title," she joked. I turned on the lights, started the coffee, opened the blinds. For the first time in my life, I realized I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was living, and that needed to mean something. So I started planning. Not to leave, not to run, but to expand. Within 6 months, Geraldine officially signed over partial ownership of Sunny's to me. Said she was tired. Said she trusted me. We rebranded the place, not too much. Same name, new paint. I designed the new logo myself. We added a weekend brunch menu. I hired 2 local kids who reminded me of younger versions of myself. Quiet, awkward, full of grit. I paid them better than minimum wage. I didn't yell, coached, and I never once made a joke at their expense. I joined a small local co-op for business owners. Took some community college classes, online marketing, design, small business finance. I liked the structure. I liked learning things that weren't just survival tricks. I liked waking up with something to build instead of something to escape. I even started writing again. Not letters, not rage-filled pages to no one. Real writing. I wrote about what happened, not just the rest stop, but everything leading up to it. The cold silences, the smirks, the long hallway nights spent listening to my father's footsteps and wondering if I was just a shadow in someone else's house. People online found it. I posted it anonymously at first. Just a blog. It went viral. Messages poured in. From strangers who had been left behind in their own ways. From people who had been discarded, disrespected, forgotten by the people who were supposed to love them most. They said my story gave them clarity. Some said it gave them courage. That's when it hit me. I didn't need closure. I needed connection. Real connection. Not blood, not shared last names, but something deeper. Chosen family, mutual respect. So I made a rule. I only let people into my life who saw me for who I was, not who they remembered me being, not who they wanted me to be, not who they feared I'd become. I surrounded myself with people who believed in small beginnings, in quiet victories, in late-night coffee over loud applause. Geraldine retired a year later. She moved to Arizona with her sister, left Sunny's fully to me. Before she left, she hugged me for the first time ever. "You were never broken," she whispered, "just misplaced." I never forgot that. As for my family, they called a few more times. I changed my number again. One day, a letter came from Alan. No return address. Said Dad had passed. Said he'd left me a watch and a letter. I didn't open the envelope. Just set it down, unopened, in the donation box behind the church. I already had time, and I'd already said what I needed to say. Now, it's been 15 years since the rest stop. I live above the same laundromat, but now it feels warm, lived in. There's art on the walls, music in the background. People knock on my door now and I open it. Not because I owe them anything, but because I want to. Sometimes, when I close up the diner late at night, I walk to the edge of the parking lot and just look at the stars. And I think about that boy on the curb in Colorado, the one in the Metallica shirt with no phone, no wallet, and no idea what to do. He didn't beg. He didn't chase them down. He stood up, and he walked, not just away from them, but toward himself.